For God giveth to a man that is good in his sight wisdom.
Was that you breathing, Kizzy?
Uncle William, it was only a trick. Kizzy and I are making up this joke to play on Mammy Belle. We're gonna make her think Kizzy knows how to read. Her eyes will just pop out of her head.
I forbid it.
Well, whatever you say, Uncle William, but it was only a trick.
I'm not blaming you, darling. Miss Anne has been gone for a good while and doesn't understand the importance of such things. I'm surprised at you, Kizzy. You really want to play a cruel joke like that? On a fine woman like your own mama, Mammy Belle?
Greetings once again. This is Imuna Yisrael of Solonomics 101, recent author of Angry Black Woman Syndrome. You know, there's a lot of information in the past. There's a lot of healing. There's a lot of knowledge. And so recently I've just been sharing. We have an event coming up that's going to be dealing with reading the narratives starting January the 1st. It's going to be a series. So reading the narratives of our recent foreparents who went on before us, who actually perished during the institution of slavery. And so I just taken a little time. Yesterday we went over North Carolina's prohibition on slavery in 1830, not prohibition on slavery, sorry, prohibition on reading in 1830 to 1831 for slaves. Today we're going to take a quick look at Alabama. I'll share my thoughts on this stuff later, but these are just to know the what. The what is very important. What actually happened. Sometimes we think it's just so long ago and we actually forget. So Alabama actually comes behind North Carolina. They do it in 1833. They were all like their little independent countries, you know, everybody passing their laws and different little colonies doing different things at different times. So in Alabama, this is how they dealt with it. It says slave codes made teaching mulatto, Indian, and indentured slaves illegal. Alabama slave code took it a notch up from North Carolina. They went deep in it. They came, some 2 years later, Alabama 1833, section 31. Quote, any person or persons who attempt to teach any free person of color or slave to spell, read, or write. Let me go again. Any person or persons who attempt to teach any free person of color or slave to spell, read, or write shall upon conviction thereof by indictment be fined in a sum not less than $250 nor more than $500. Section 32, Alabama 1833. Quote, any free person of color who shall write for any slave a pass or free paper on conviction thereof shall receive for every such offense 39 lashes on the bare back and leave the state of Alabama within 30 days thereafter. End quote. Alabama 1833, section 33. Quote, any slave who shall write for any other slave any pass or free paper upon conviction shall receive on his or her back 50 lashes for the first offense and 100 lashes for every offense thereafter. End quote. Alabama turned it up from North Carolina. We see here that Alabama turned it up. They went not only for not teaching a slave to read, but also not teaching any free person of color or slave to spell, read, or write. And then it goes on to say that $250 and no more than $500. In the state of North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, it was between $100 and $200. And that was for, I suppose at this point it would be the European who would be fined. So it was more money. And plus, you couldn't teach a free person. Secondly, the thing that's in contrast to North Carolina that made them like more turned up is that if anybody shall write a pass or free paper to show manumission or that you were free, you know what I'm saying, the forgery in this case, should have 39 lashes, any person of color. So they're saying they wouldn't whip the European. I don't see yet that they were going to whip the European. They would find them and throw them in jail. But if you were of color, they would whoop you. 39 lashes on the bare back for every such offense, they said here. And that you have to get out of the state of California, and that you would have to get out the state of Alabama. after 30 days after they beat you. And this was for a free person of color. And then the 33rd section says, all right, and then actually the 33rd section is wow. It says, any slave who shall write for any other slave a pass or free paper upon conviction shall receive on his back or her back 50 lashes for the first offense and 100 lashes for every other offense. Talk about scare tactics to learn to read. But in these days, the children of slaves who were under penalty of brutal abuse are said, black people don't like to read. Black people don't read. You want to hide something from them? Put it in a book. I'm going to talk about this more, because this is showing you what under penalty of, if you saw, I put a little clip on the other one. If you didn't see, check it out. Her mother in the Roots narrative slapped the snot out of Kizzy because Kizzy showed her ability to read. And now you get the snot slapped out of you because you don't want to read. But where did the stigma go? Where did the stigma go? Where did the memory go? How do we know that these children are not the offspring of those who were brutally abused for reading? There's some psychological stuff that may have passed down through the generations that we don't want to subscribe to necessarily getting. And that's how come oftentimes, they say, quote unquote, black people are easily tricked because we won't go to a book. We won't take the time to read. This is very interesting. We'll come back for another one. That was the state of Alabama. We'll be coming up. We'll be reading some narratives. The first one is going to be 50 Years in Chains. And then the second one is going to be Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. So we definitely look forward to volunteers to read as we go through these narratives and stories and see what we can glean and learn from our foreparents who came before us and perished in this institution called slavery. So until next time, my name is Amuna Yisrael 1.